Hello and welcome to another video from Minus Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we are looking at something that is now very old and happens to be very rare. As usual would expect from us, we are looking at the 1970 release by IPC Magazines from their Scorcher series of comics. And Scorcher Comics was all based around the football. And this particular comic ran for 4 years before it was finally merged into Tiger. And this particular issue we are looking at today is issue number 3, which was dated the 24th of January 1970. Okay, so this is the comic in front of us, and it says, the paper that's packed with football pictures, stories and features. IPC Magazines Limited 1970, Scorcher, every Monday, 24th of Jan 1917, the price is 7D, or 7 pence as that used to be called. It says, a super wall chart, free inside, keep your own record of the road to the FA Cup final. And that right at the very bottom you've got the price is for the comic in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Rhodesia, East Africa, West Africa, Malaysia and Malta. Okay, so that's the front cover. Let's turn it over and just see what we've got on the back. So on the back it's got more badges for your collection, football club badges. So you've got Manchester United, Kilmarnock, Mansfield, Notts County, Portsmouth, Airdrieonians, Cardiff and Colchester. So being that this is issue 3, this is the 3rd week of the badges being issued on the back of the comic. So they were just really cut out so you could keep or whatever. But that's the 3rd issue, so it's the 3rd set. Okay, that's the back cover. Let's turn the comic back round to the front and let's open it up and let's see what we've got on the inside. Okay, so I've opened the comic and the first thing we notice is that this comic is slightly larger than the its rivals, so like Royal Rovers and Tiger. It's a little bit bigger than those comics. There's more pages as well. There's quite a lot more pages in this particular comic than what was in the others as well. This particular issue is issue number 3, which also came with a free gift as it was outlined on the front. And this is the free gift in front of us. And I'm just going to open this up, but it is huge. So there we are. I'm going to have to open it up and show it this way because it is basically, I'll lift it up so you can see that in full. So it is the route to the FA Cup from this particular year, which is 1970. And it says you fill in the results of the 3rd round, then write in the names of the opposing clubs following the draw for each successive round. So here we go. That's Preston v Derby, Sheffield United v West Brom. Sheffield Wednesday v West Brom, Sheffield United, Everton, Brentwood, Northampton, Ipswich, Manchester United, and so on, all the way down to the one at the bottom was Queen's Park Rangers against South Shields. And it says presented 3 with Scorcher. And there you go on to the 4th round, the 5th round, the 6th round, the semi-final, the FA Cup final. In the space below, put down the names of the 2 finalists and the players that play in the final. And there we are. So that is the free gift that came with this particular issue. Now, I'm just going to fold that back up and move that out of the way so we can get back on to looking at the comic. I don't want to get that ruined or damaged at all. Okay, so this is the first page inside the front cover, and there's a little bit of bleed through on the front page because of the first page, because of the colour on the outside of the comic, and as you can see it's just come through. So the first page is a little bit more difficult to read than the rest of them, but anyway, it says the very first story in this issue is called Royals Rangers. It says by the time the match was over, Rod would be a criminal. And there we go. So this is a black and white comic strip story, which runs for 3 of the large pages. And then there is a bio on Jimmy Greaves. It says how I began. Jimmy Greaves, Tottenham Hotspur in England. As a lad, Jimmy was the only boy in the street to have a ball below. Jimmy at Chelsea, and right, Jimmy in the white shirt, seen in action for Spurs. Okay, so that is all about Jimmy Greaves. And then the next page, Scorcher Team of the Week. And it's Gateway Grammar School in Leicester. And your school 11 can also win a Super Scorcher football. Send the team photograph and details of performances last season to Scorcher, Team of the Week, IPC Magazines, and so on. And it says Roll of Honour, and you've got Liverpool, led by the great Scots skipper Ron Yates. They were cup winners in 1965 and league champions in 1966. These Merseyside Marvels beat Leeds United 2-1 in the cup final and finished 6 points ahead of Leeds and Burnley in the league title race. Roger Hunt, scorer of one of the cup final goals, led Liverpool's championship strikers with 30 goals, then went on to be a star of England's World Cup winners. A few weeks later, he's now leading the Bolton attack. Most of Liverpool's team on the left are still with the great Anfield club. Remember, this was 1970. The next comic strip is called Stub, and again we've got some bleed through from the page which is coloured on the other side. Now this tended to happen because the paper that they used was really cheap paper. And it's very, very thin paper, and if you colour one side, it bleeds through onto the other side. So it's a shame that they did that and they didn't use a better quality paper, but there we go. That was back in the late 60s, early 70s. So it says, the Highton fans greeted the boy from the worlds with laughter, and it's called The Kangaroo Kid. And this is a comic strip, which is a... in part colour, so it's red, black and white. So some of the comic strips, they use part colour to colorise them, give them some kind of colour towards them, rather than just black and white all the time. And then we move on to the next page. Have I taken two pages? No, just one page. And it's got goals posted, but it's saying, again, you can see the bleed through from the colour page on the other side. So it's goal posts. Every letter answered here wins a £1 note for the sender. So there's some letters there from the fans of this particular comic, or the subscribers, if you like. Next comic strip, again, is a comic strip with some colour, and this one's got blue, light blue on it, and it's called, basically because it's called Bobby the Blues, and it says Bobby's first chance to score for the Blues ended in disaster because he missed. So it is a so it's only part colour, so the first page is in colour, the rest of it is just black and white, and it's a 3-page comic strip. And then we move on to another feature, which is Know It All. He's Soccer Mr. Big Head. See if you can catch him out. Answers on opposite page. So basically, it's a load of questions with the answers on the other side. So like a little mini quiz, if you like. And again, we've got a little bit of bleed through on this page because the next story, comic strip story, Billy's Boots, is a full colour comic strip, which runs for just the 2 centre pages. Let's move on to the next one, and you've got a bio on John Toshak of Cardiff. He was playing for Cardiff City at the time. Obviously Toshak went on to be, he's a Welsh international, and he managed Wales for a while as well. Then we've got Paxtons Powerhouse, which is a black and white comic strip. Again, I don't see how many pages that runs for. So that runs for 3 pages, I think. Yep, 3 pages. And again, it's a full black and white comic strip story specifically for this comic. The next story is like a story you would get in an annual. It's called The Gold Thief. And it is basically a text story with a couple of little illustrations. So, yeah, a nice little story there. But again, we've got a bit of bleed through with a colour on this particular page. Because as you can see, the next comic strip is black and white with red colour. And unfortunately that has bled through again onto the previous page and probably onto the following page as well, which we'll have a look at in a moment. But this comic strip is called Byrd of Paradise Hill. Richard was goaded into going for goal with painful results. And there we go. So that is a 2-page comic strip story. Next, we've got Challenge Your Chum to quiz football. So there's a quiz there for you. Again, there's the bleed through there. And then on to the next comic strip, which is Lags 11. The soccer match was on, thanks to the genius of Brilliant Genius. And there we go. And again, this is a comic strip it's got green colour on this particular one. And again, it's a 2.5-page comic strip story, again specifically for this comic. And now we've got third round results for your chart. So these are the FA Cup third round results that were available at the time of going to press. In the case of draws, postponements and abandonments, you can obtain the final results from the national and local press. In the results squares, P means postponed and A means abandoned. Okay, so there was a few postponed there. So you had Brentford and Northampton postponed, Hillingdon and Sutton postponed, and Coventry and Liverpool postponed. All the others were played. There was no abandoned matches. And let's see if we can find a top team. So Ipswich Town 0, Manchester United 1. What else have we got? Bradford City 2, Tottenham 2. Chelsea 3, Birmingham 0. Who else have we got? Arsenal 1, Blackpool 1. Aston Villa 1, Charlton 1. Hull City 0, Manchester City 1. Southampton 3, Newcastle 0. There we go. Wrexham City 1, Norwich City 1, Wrexham 2. Blackburn 0, Swindon 4. Middlesbrough 2, West Ham 1. Portsmouth 1, Tranmere 2, York 1, Cardiff 1, Queen's Park Rangers 4, South Shields 1. So there we are. That was the results from 1970. And then on to the final comic strip, I think, which is called Big Match Preview, the FA Cup Games. And again, that is a story with comics strips on it. And that takes us to the end of the magazine. It says next week, Manchester United versus Derby County. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the comic. So there we are. So how well did this comic do back in 1970? Well, the football comics were quite a big hit when they first started, when they first came out. And this particular comic ran from January 5th, 1970, right up to October 1974. There was 248 issues that were produced, but it wasn't just Scorcher on its own. Scorcher ran for quite a while, but I think in July 71, it joined with another football theme comic which was called Score, which was initially called Score and Raw. Before Raw was being dropped, it went on to be called Score. So they renamed it Scorcher and Score for a while before the Score was dropped. And then the Scorcher and Scorcher as it became again, went on to merge with Tiger, and it became Tiger and Scorcher. And Scorcher stayed with Tiger for a while, but as usual with these comics that merge, they shorten the titles, so eventually Scorcher was dropped and it became just Tiger. And I think in total, with Scorcher on the title, there was about 548 issues produced, weekly comics produced. So there was 77 issues of Scorcher, which was from the 10th of Jan 70 to 26th June 1971. There was 171 issues of Scorcher and Score, which ran from the 3rd of July 71 to the 5th of October 74. And then there was 300 issues of Tiger and Scorcher, which was from the 12th of October 74 to the 30th of August 1980. And then after that, it just basically the Scorcher in the title was dropped and it just went into Tiger and continued on just as Tiger. Some of the comic strips from this comic ended up in Tiger and some of them ended up in Royal Rovers. Okay, so that's a brief history of the comic. So yes, it done very well for a while, but as anything, they do fizzle out after a while, and we found out with most of the football comics back in the 70s, they go very, very well in the beginning and then they fizzle out, so they end up merging with other like comics. Now let's move forward 54 years to today, October 2024. How often do these magazines come up for sale, or these comics come up for sale? Well, they do come up fairly regular. They do seem to have survived. There's quite a lot of them that have survived the test of time, and they do pop up from time to time on the platforms. However, condition is always important, and as usual, also is the free gift. So if you are buying one on the platforms, just make sure you have a good look at the quality. Remember, this one wasn't the best of papers they used. It was cheap paper, had a lot of bleed through from the colour on the previous pages, and the paper had a very big tendency to tan along the edges due to age and the fact that it was cheap paper. So be very, very aware of what you're actually buying if you are going to buy these on the platforms. So make sure you have a good look, because a lot of the platforms just give stock images. They don't actually show the actual item, but always click on the used icon so you can hopefully get a good image of what you're actually buying. Or alternatively, we at Midas Touch have managed to find a few of these copies. Now each of them come with the wall chart, and they are currently available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage comics and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that, as over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories. Well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this very, very old comic with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.